Welcome to the Maryland General Assembly homepage. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about how to access useful information from the Maryland General Assembly's page. First thing you'll notice in the top right, there are links to the executive and judicial branch pages. I think the General Assembly page is the most helpful. Right up here in the search bar, you can search for pretty much anything. So if you use the Maryland General Assembly page to do your homework for ALR, for example, you might have been looking for something to do with directory assistance billing. And if you search that simply instead of using an advanced search, it'll take you to a whole bunch of articles and bills and readers, so pretty much every document that comes up with those search terms. If we click on the first result, it'll take us to an article, Maryland Public Utilities article, which may have been the answer for a homework assignment, which you've hopefully turned in by now. If we just navigate back to the home page, there are a lot of things we can do immediately. First, if you know a bill number, you can search, and if you hover, it'll suggest you use lowercase letters. But even if you use capital letters, it will take you to the bill number if you know it off the top of your head, or if you've done a little bit of Googling and maybe you found out the bill number that you're looking for. So this is a bill that changes probation before judgment to modify the statutory language to allow judges to find facts justifying finding of guilt and suspend sentences, as opposed to requiring defendants plead to facts justifying a finding of guilt, which is an annoying nuance. Here we can see all the sponsors for the bill, when the next hearing will be, and any documents that are available. Since this is still in its early baby stages, there's only a first reader. So there are no other documents available. So back to the homepage for a minute. Here you can see anything active topics under the legislation, budget, etc. These are all things that are happening right now. So you can see that the Senate and House are technically adjourned until 8 p.m. tonight. Over here, the committee meetings, you can watch on live video what's happening in the House and Senate committees, which I find to be fascinating. If there's a bill that you're doing research about, or something that's just of interest to you, it can be really fun to listen and see what people say when they're testifying, providing oral testimony, what sort of advocacy and interest groups show up for supporting bills or to recommend an unfavorable review of a bill. And it can also be helpful if you're trying to determine if a bill will pass, to see how senators or delegates, what questions they ask and how they receive things. So it looks like the House Judiciary Committee may be live. So if you wanted to look at that, you would just click on this and it would take you to the video proceedings where you can watch and listen to whatever's happening there. And if we wanted to know more about what's happening in that committee, we can click on the link to the committee and it'll tell you, first of all, we now know that Delegate Luke Clippinger is the chair. I did not know that. Under session legislation, this is everything that they're considering this year. That's a lot of stuff. But if we click on schedule, it'll tell you what the schedule is for this week or the next few weeks. So today, these were all of the things on the docket for the committee, and unfortunately, there's really no way to know what they're talking about right now unless we tune in and turn up the volume, because bills will not be called in any particular order. It looks like there's a lot happening about, I think it's gun day. It looks like it is gun day. Student protection in school, forfeiture of firearms, police training. Wow, this is fascinating. So if you're interested in guns or ghost guns, you might want to check this out. So that will all be available online tomorrow. You can watch the full thing and learn all about how your delegates feel about gun control, which is interesting if you want to lobby legislators. If you want to learn more about how to contact your legislators, you can click on that tab and it gives you the name of everyone in the Senate and everyone in the House, and there's a little direct link to contact them. So if you see someone's doing a good job or says something you don't like, you can send them a quick little note saying, I disagree with your opinion on gun control. So floor proceedings, pretty straightforward, similar to what we looked at from the homepage, but this is a little bit more involved. But we can look at what bills are happening and what bills are being heard. So specifically for Senate proceedings, it'll tell you second reading passed, favorably adopted. If we don't know anything about SB 272, You can just see, are they in a good mood today? Are they passing things? Are they not passing things along? So you can also find information about the budget, and one of the most useful tools possibly is you can use the Maryland General Assembly website to look up statutes. So if we know that we want to look for an article in the family law code, you can look it up by number. Say this is really where my heart is today. You can find out about getting copies of child custody orders. Great. If you wanted to look up what statutes are affected, you can kind of break that down. You can also look at it by county or municipality. The advanced search allows you to search for different provisions of codes as well, or you can just use search terms like I showed you before, directory assistance billing, for example. And that will link you to every document that has those terms. So it could be a statute that has been codified, or it could be an attempt to amend a statute that has not yet passed. The hearing schedule page is also really great. Let's say that I know that a bill I cared about was heard, there was a hearing on Wednesday, February 6th. You can click on that. It does take the page a minute. And I know that it was in front of the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee, but I don't know which one it was. Well, I can look here and see these are my options. So all the bills that were heard by the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee on the 6th. And then these are the sponsors over here. And this is a description of them. And if I wanted to go listen and watch a video of the hearing, everything that happened that day, I can do so. And the whole video will be available.
No opposition.
And that's 6.5 hours of content for you to listen to while you're doing your homework or research. So I highly encourage you to listen in on some committee hearings. I find it fascinating. Drunk and drug driving, changing licenses and identification cards to indicate applicant sex, or changing the marriage age requirement. I think this is all really interesting stuff, and you can learn a lot both about how your delegates are voting, if there's a vote, well, not yet, and also just what's happening in terms of legislative reform. So this has been my review of the Maryland General Assembly website. I hope this was useful and informative, and I hope that you check it out. Thank you for listening.